Hello, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas. Thanks for being a gasaholic. GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Since 1990, your source for automotive information, fun stuff, some humor, and car crazy action. Now, today we're going to talk about something that's been, well, going back and forth for many years. What's the value of your car? How do you value your car? Well, it's simple. It's not as difficult as you think. Now, a lot of people are paying $400 or $500 for an appraisal, and that's all well and good if that is mandatory for your insurance. Now, if you're just doing it to have it, that's okay too. But let me give you some steps and let me give you some information. Now, a lot of cars these days are not valued as much as they were, say, 5 years ago. And a lot of people don't know where to fix the value of their vehicle. Some vehicles go up in value, some vehicles go down. You know, I just came across a situation where a gentleman asked me to appraise a 1937 Ford Magnati-bodied Hot Rod. Now, 4 or 5 years ago when he purchased this vehicle, they were selling for six figures. $100,000 easy for one of these cars. Beautiful fiberglass-bodied cars, very nice in appearance, very well fit and finish was great. The car has all the good stuff. Independent suspension, small block Chevy, fuel injected engine. It is a great car. But when he purchased it at the price they were selling for. You would think they would go up in value. Well, if you look at history, you look at the last, say, 5 years of auction values. Now, I'm not saying dealer auctions. I'm talking about Barrett-Jackson, Mecum, Gooding, all the major automotive auctions. Those vehicles have lost value. In some cases, as much as 50%. Now, I had a gentleman who had a total loss on one of these cars, and he said the insurance company offered him a certain amount of money. It was significantly less than it cost him to build the car. Well, yeah, that's right. Now, if you take a look at the receipts you have for building a vehicle, you add them up, you come up with a total, and you say, this is the value of my car. No, that is what you spent on the car. That is not the value. Now, to get the value, you need to find out what the market is for that car. And it's relatively simple, and I'll give you some steps on doing it. Do not look at for sale prices for number one. For sale prices are blue sky. For sale prices are the guy who looked at those receipts and said, I want $100,000 for my Yugo. Ain't going to happen. What's the real value of the vehicle? Well, to find the real value of the vehicle, you can go on major sites like Barrett-Jackson and Mecum. Put in the information about your vehicle. Make, model, year. Hot rod, stocker, whatever the case may be. There are categories you can go into Mecum's, Barrett-Jackson's, and Gooding's websites. It will come up with all of those vehicles that have sold. They'll go back 10, maybe even 15 years, depending on the auction. And you can see what the vehicles have actually sold for. Now, the prices they list also include fees that they charge. So you can get an idea, roughly 10% of that final figure you see on their website includes their sales charges. Don't include that. That is not the good value of your vehicle. That is what the vehicle sold for with the fees. It's not the hammer price. The hammer price is what the person actually bid. So let's just say, for example, he paid $100,000 for a vehicle. The hammer price was not $100,000. Add 10 or subtract 10% from that published price, and that will give you what the hammer price was, or what he actually bid to get the vehicle. Simple, really. Now, you can look at Barrett-Jackson, like I said, and you can find the prices. You can look at Mecum, you can find the prices of what they sold for. That is a good indicator. Now, if you want to go back in further history and get a broader sense of what your vehicle is valued at, you can go on a site called Concept Cars, that's Concept Cars with a Z at the end, punch in the information about your vehicle under valuation, and you will get a history of 10 to 15 years back to see where the trends are on your vehicle, what it is sold for. Again, this includes the price of the fees charged by the auction company. Regardless of which company it is, they charge a fee to sell a vehicle. There's a fee charged to the seller. There's a fee charged to the buyer. It's not what the hammer price is. You bid $100,000, your price is not $100,000. Add 10% to that, roughly. So if your hammer price was $100,000, you actually paid $110,000. And there was also a fee to the seller. Now, that doesn't come up in that total number. Now, one of the things to look at is there are book prices. And people keep talking about, oh, I got an NADA book or I got a blue book price. Those aren't accurate. Now, I don't care what those companies say to you. They are not accurate. I had a tour of one of those companies and spoke with them, with their management. Their book was 6 months to a year behind on average for the value of the vehicle. And the value of their vehicle pricing does not include modified cars, does not include hot rods. It is strictly what a stock vehicle of that type is selling for, or what they value it at. Not what it's selling for, what they value it at. And I'll give you an example. On the showroom of this particular book company that made the book prices, they had a beautiful 1957 Chevrolet two-door handyman station wagon. It was cool. It was great. Upgraded engine, upgraded suspension, better wheels, better interior, better transmission, better brakes. Their book value for this vehicle was, at the time, this is quite a few years ago, their book value was $25,000. That car was for sale, right there in the showroom, for $75,000. That shows you how far off the books are when it comes to value of a vehicle. And again, stock vehicle versus modified vehicle. Now, in some cases, that works in the opposite way. A stock vehicle of some types will sell for more than a modified vehicle. However, that is case by case, and you've really got to do your research on your vehicle to see what it is. An example, a stock Corvette may hold its value. Some don't. And I'll give you a prime example. I've got a C5 Corvette. The car list price, and I've got the window sticker, was over $50,000. I didn't pay anywhere near that price for it. I paid considerably less for it. Thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars less than what the sticker price was. The car has gone down in value. Now, it's a very low mileage vehicle in excellent condition, but the market for that vehicle is not strong. The value of the vehicle has gone down. Now, I look at the book price on that vehicle, and the book price is lower than what I see them selling for, or the asking price. What could I get for the vehicle? I don't know. I'm not trying to sell it. But there's a disparity between the book price and the selling price. Now, a leading insurance company that handles collector cars has their own published pricing on vehicles. On my particular car, the published pricing they have is about $20,000 higher than what I paid. And it's still about $20,000 less than what it originally sold for. Why the disparity? And that's part of the problem. And a lot of people will look at some of these book prices and go, well, that's what my car's worth. Well, no, not really. You've got to look at what they've actually sold for. And that's where conceptcars.com will give you an actual sold price. This way you can figure out what the value of your vehicle is. Again, the gentleman who had the Mignotti-bodied car paid 6 figures for the car. The current value is about half of that. Why? I don't know. Market is not there for that vehicle. They don't want it. People are not that enthused about that car any longer. It was a hot ticket 5 years ago. It's not any longer. I had another situation where a gentleman with a 1955 Chevrolet had receipts for $150,000. He wanted $150,000 insurance value. And at that point in time, I was doing appraisals directly for a major insurance company. We couldn't do it. The car was not worth that. And I tried to explain to the gentleman, it was an older build, about 10 years old from when it was built. It had a basic 350 engine carburetor. It had tweed interior. It had kind of strange kind of mag wheels on it. I don't know what brand they were, but they weren't real popular. It had front disc brakes, but a stock front suspension. It had a turbo 350 transmission, and it was a nice sedan, 55 Chevy Bel Air sedan. He wanted $150,000 in value. I tried to explain to him, and I showed him examples of what a $150,000 55 Chevy was. And at that point in time, first off, bucket seats. He had bench. Okay. He had tweed interior. The higher priced vehicles had leather. He had front disc brakes on stock suspension. The cars getting the higher values had tubular front suspension, tubular A-arms. They had coilover shocks. They had a whole different suspension system up front. They had 700R or 200R overdrive automatic transmissions, or they had manual transmissions, Tremec, 5-speeds, or even some 6-speed cars. They had Dakota digital dash. He still had the stock gauges in his vehicle. He had a nice AM/FM stereo, not what the cars today have. They had CD players, or they had all sorts of high-tech stereo equipment in the vehicle. His trunk still had the rubber mat. The car's getting the good value that, like he wanted, had carpeted, upholstered trunk lids, trunk area. He had a decent paint job. Today's cars have a more high-tech paint job. They were urethane. They were 2-stage paint jobs. This was still a simple base paint job. It was two-tone, but it was an enamel paint job, not what they're going for today. He had, like I said, a simple mag wheel. It was cast centers with steel rims. To get the higher value, you're going to need billet wheels. So there's a lot of different things you need to look at when you're valuing your vehicle. How close is your vehicle to the one that just sold for X amount of dollars? Do you have the same type of equipment? Just because it's a 55 Chevy from the outside doesn't mean it's the same under the skin. And that's what you've got to look at. And that's how you value your vehicle properly. Like vehicles, go to the auction sites. Take a look at what they've actually sold for, not what the books are telling you. The books are not accurate. They're guides, and that's about all they're good for. All right, got a question about value of your vehicle? Should be a question. Let's see what we can find out for you. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas, the Great American Auto Scene. Like, share, follow, right here. I'm Hot Rod Bob. Look for my page with my funny logo with me in my car. Now there's multiple Bob Beck pages. Get the right one. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas, the Great American Auto Scene since 1990. Your source for what's hot and what's not. Have a great day, folks. It's Thursday. Getting ready for some great weekend action. What car shows are you going to? Post them up. Let me see what you're doing. All right, I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas. Take care. Have a great day.